Hello and welcome back to the Really Woke Show with myself, Really Woke Roxanne, awesome co-host here, Near from Esh News, and below us here we have John. Thank you for joining us, John, and to all of you in the chat room as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We will jump into the chat room really shortly. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce these awesome guys that have joined me tonight. Some of you may recognize Near as you've watched us before. Some of you may be
here lately. I don't know.
Exactly. Some of you may be new, so you may be like, okay, I know you, Rox, but I don't know who these guys are. So don't worry, we'll get to it. We'll introduce them both to you. First of all, Near, just to anyone that's new watching, can you give them a quick synopsis about, who you are and what you're about? And I'll put you on the spot there with that, but I just realized I'm seeing lots of names that I haven't seen before as well. So yeah,
tell us a little bit. Sure. We are Edge News, and we are working together, you and me, Roxanne, for the last year or so, here with shows in Israel and all kinds of other content that we're producing here. And mainly, true first content. And here, Edge News was basically established to, of course, spread the truth to the world, but also like to connect Israel into the international true first community. And our guest that we brought here tonight, and actually we did like several shows over the last week or so, right? We did one last Tuesday and this Tuesday, and seems like a good team, right? And here we got like the other guest over here down the bottom, Mr. John, that is a friend of mine for the last 1 or 2 years, and he actually in the beginning of the way was a big part of Ish News. And we are I'm happy that he joined along to this show, and hope we have a great one today.
Fantastic. And just before we get to you, John, we have one also here that's not on camera, but she is here. And it does look like I'm throwing my voice, but I promise you I'm not.
Sita.
Mama Sita, goddess nut, my darling. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Evening, guys. Hello, chat room.
Who's that?
She sees you. Aha. You see?
You should know this by now. You can't see me, but I see you.
That's it. She's like, you can't see me, but I can see you. Shout out to Mama Sita, goddess nut, who was, out with me at the weekend as well. She is an absolute figurehead in what we're doing. We are out on the streets, we're filming and interviewing people as this great awakening unfolds. And Asita is an integral part in what we're doing. Without her, knowledge and know-how with what she's doing, we wouldn't be able to produce the level of content we're able to do. So thank you, my darling. You're amazing, girlie. And to all the people that have been involved behind the scenes that have kept the wheels going on the Asita and Roxanne cart. We've had many issues, and you know who you are. You know who you are. Thank you very much. We wouldn't have been able to do the last 7 days or the last 10 days. How about the last month or a little bit longer than that?
2 months.
You're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. And we couldn't do this without you. So thank you very much. We've got a big show packed tonight. But before we get to that, I really want to bring everyone up to speed with John, because as I said, Nick, you've done many shows with me. I think a lot of people are familiar with you. Some people may not remember that John's been on the show before. So I'm hoping there's a few WS viewers that are going, no, I remember John.
Yeah. I've been on the show some months ago, and so for those who don't remember me, and probably most of you don't, I'm another woke person. That's what I regard myself, and I started my journey in 2009, a long time ago, with back then with Alex Jones, and was exposed to 9/11 and all these things, and then from that you go to the moon landings, from that you go to other things, and from that you get to flat Earth or the globe fly, and then it's you're finally awake, and who knows what else we need to discover, but
right. Exactly. That's very reassuring to know. Again, another one that's come across the Ministries of Education and seriously questioned what we've been taught on many levels. So it's very reassuring to hear yet again we've got someone else on the panel that knows at least the same as we know with the extent of the lies, right? Asita, you've come across these same lies as well.
Yeah, I think a majority of people have come across it, so it's without saying.
Very well put. It does. It goes without saying. So yeah, John, thanks for being so candid with us and kind of letting us know where you're at with things. I hope that brought you in the chat room up to speed, which brings us to the chat room. I think I'm going to go into the chat room now and scrolly up to the top.
Before that, I think, Roxanne, that you have to be considered that you stuck with two guys with the worst English accent ever. Like the Israeli accent is like absolutely horrible. So try to bear
You guys
with
are
us.
doing amazing. Considering English is not your first language, you're both doing great, John and Nia. You both are doing absolutely amazing. Seriously.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, I'm in a different city. I'm in Haifa, and he's in Rehovot. So
yeah, can you kind of describe to the viewers in relation to Israel where that is? Because a lot of people may not be as familiar. Somewhere that they would know.
Well, Haifa is a port city in the north, very big port city with a bay and a lot of ships coming in and out. And
it's a mixed city with usually like it's kind of like always similar to me like Cape Town. Okay, it looks like Cape Town. You got like the shoreline, and you got like the bottom city, which usually has mostly like Arab residents, and in the upper city you have like the Jewish population mainly. And you have like it's one of the three major cities in Israel. We got like Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa is considered like to be the third or the fourth biggest city in Israel. And yeah, it's a nice one. Me, I'm coming from the city of Rehovot, which is located southward than Haifa, like also close to the coastline of the Mediterranean. And Rehovot, I mentioned once or twice before, like in the shows, that I think that this city has a special meaning and place, and something which is connected to the Bible story, which is mentioned. And I think that in the following shows I will elaborate a little bit about that thing and journey that we went through in this city with exploring the past. But now to the chat room.
Yeah. We don't hear you, Roxanne. I think
I was on mute. Sorry about that. Yeah, massive shout out to the chat room. Well said, Nia. We're going to jump straight into the chat room now. Shout out to First Munch. I'm going to take a look at that recommendation, and we'll try and fit that in. Again, we've got a stacked show tonight, and we're already rolling over. It's probably going to be about 2.5 hour, 3 hour show tonight. There's not much we can do about that. There's just an incredible amount of things going on that we need to bring you up to speed with and show you. So yeah, thank you, First Munch. Alf Vincent Fuska, long live Fuska. Spirit Level, Mark Carter, FE, Michael Kilpatrick, Jesse Enns, great to see you. Sleeping Warrior, wonderful. Thank you to see you in the chat room. Guy Hamilton, Seven Circle, Ashley O, UFC Brown, True Tube, Valley Parks. I hope I'm not missing anyone out. Black Ball. Who else is in the chat room? I see you there at Esh News in the chat room. Asita's in the chat room as well. And Soundly's Banana Cam in the chat room as well. Spirit Level. D Murphy got here. Lovely to see you, my darling. Dawn as well. Great to have you too. Guy Hamilton. And hopefully Tomasino. Have I not missed anyone? Mark Sargent. Oh, wow. Thank you. Yes, thank you for joining us. Lovely to see you in the chat room. Awesome. Red Pill Paul as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Concerned Citizen Steve Bailey. And Lunderground, Martin Leafka. Oi. Wow, this is so
Dave Murphy.
So people today. Dave Murphy, I see.
Riley, big up yourself as well in the chat room. I'm loving all the interactions. Absimus Maximus as well. Big time. Really, thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to be here with us. Marcus Black as well, local experimentalist as well. Great to see you too. We've got a stacked show for you tonight. Amazing footage showing you from the northern regions of England. Massive amount of things coming up over the next few days that we definitely want to bring you up to speed with. We've also got an in-depth discussion about smoke screens. A lot of people are aware of smoke screens, and a lot of people aren't. And we want to bring you up to speed with an up-to-date analysis on those kind of situations, which seem to be happening a lot at the moment. So yeah, big up the woke people from Spirit Level. Lovely to see you. Big hugs to you all in the chat room. Amazing interactions. The chat room looks like an amazingly lovely place to be right about now.
Really welcome.
Did I miss someone? Hold on. Christopher Lees, yeah. Christopher Lees, my darling. Lovely to see you in the chat room as well. So, my darlings, it's been a big week. It's been a very, very big week, okay? Just a few days ago, you translated an amazing interview, which was a breath of fresh air to me. Don't know about you, Asita, but I really got a lot from that interview.
Definitely. It was really well presented and good on the translation.
Yeah, things like that give us faith in humanity. Seeing people are awake and not afraid to speak out about the wrongs that are going on right now is wonderful.
And it's also, I think for me, it's actually refreshing to get a perspective from a country where I'm never ever going to hear that on the news. You know, there's a lot of countries that are facing the same or similar situations to what here in the West are facing, but probably even worse in some countries, and we just don't know. So with people like Nia, who are, how many languages that you speak?
It's got a translation.
I speak 3 languages. I speak Hebrew, English, and Arabic. But wait, at Olympus Translations, we do all the languages.
It's doing really good to have who are capable of doing that, so that we can get real news, truth.
That's it. Truth and transparency for us is the only way forward at this point. So again, I want to give a massive shout out to our brother Noel Harry Watson. You are the man with the plan, brother. In going back and forth with you, Asita, I can't express how much joy, overwhelming elation. Denise Welch, we love you big time. Denise, she's in a league of her own.
I remember when I first saw the video, I just woke up and went on Facebook and I was like, but you would think that. I'll just drop it in the chat.
Why can't she show her face for us to see?
Oh, she can. She can. No, he's talking about you. Why can't you show your face? No, she can. But she's you know what? She's just. So there you go. She's been editing since the weekend to produce the content that we're going to show tonight. So she's a little bit tired. And you know, we've got her little bed made up right here. She's got her gym jams on, and she's got her. Is that Horlicks? No, it's coffee. Okay, coffee to stay up. That's really where she's at. Coffee to stay up. So yeah, she's got her bits and pieces here, and we're really blessed to have her here because
I will show my face.
Yeah, Asita is far happier.
It's like in every team you need someone with a special, I think, character or something that happens to you in every show.
This side of the camera. Yeah. She's happy on this side of the camera, not this side of the camera. Asita's very happy to talk and be involved in the conversation, but she's like, if I can be off camera, yay.
I'm happy to get a puppet of myself.
It's like in South Park that, you know, Kenny dies in every episode. So here, like, Asita doesn't show her face in every episode. So it's like her thing.
Yeah, man. Sure. We love you, man. We love you big time.
But I'm here.
That's right. And thanks to her efforts, we've got what we've got to show you tonight. But before, and I'm pre-warning you of this. I said to myself, we're going to show Asita's content about 25, 30 minutes in. We're going to give you time to get warmed up. But before that, we're going to show you the awesome Denise Welch. You did humanity proud, Denise. I was watching and
did the UK proud.
You did the UK proud. You stood up for what was right, and you came up with valid point after valid point after valid point. And this is what's so desperately needed at the moment because the mainstream media are horrendously complicit. So yeah, we're gonna literally.
I'll just highlight. I love the fact that she was
By the way,
conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with conspiracies. Like, what are people conspiring to do? Tell you the truth? We just need to have a discussion and an open discussion and hearing everybody's perspective, not just a small narrative. So yeah, no, big shout out to Denise. Thank you so much for putting it out there.
Yeah. Go on, John.
By the way, I saw Dave Murphy on the chat, and I would like to congratulate you, Dave, for the tour, the no mask tour that you're doing in your country. Very, very. I wish people will do it in every country. So, thumbs up for that.
Well said. Big up D Murphy in the house. Shout out to you, my darling. Yeah, there's an amazing amount of efforts coming across the country, which is awesome to see. So what we'll do is we will now share the screen without further ado, and I'm going to show you the amazing Denise Welch, because, well, it is just truly amazing. What she was able to convey in this interview, I really think a lot of people have to pay attention to this, that are in this position, and they really need to use their position wisely right now. If they've got a platform where they've got a lot of people hearing them, and to speak out like this is the best thing that they can do. So again, yeah.
Point where, actually, it's not even getting to the point. It was at the beginning ridiculous how much measures were put in place in the first place without real solid information being brought out. And now it's getting to the point where you want to do round 2 and crucify everyone? No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, well said. D. Murphy said, thank you, John, appreciate it. He's just popped that in the chat. Thank you, my darling. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to follow this now with a clip from Denise Welch, and I will share the link for this in the chat room for everybody. So without further ado, I will share the screen right now. Hopefully you can all see that. Yeah? Perfecto.
Oh, yeah.
Press play.
Remember that.
Dan, listen, I disagree with you about a lot of things, so it's quite something that I'm sitting here talking to you
I know.
today. I haven't ever in 63 years felt as impassioned as I am about this. I am just not prepared to listen to the MSM and narrative, which has still got to have the word deadly and killer in without this being backed up. So I am looking at data, and I've become quite obsessed with it. We are a country of 67 million people. Of 67 million, there are 480 in hospital. The curve couldn't be flatter at the moment. Why are we having a rolling news death count? We never have it about cancer. We never have it about heart attacks. So while people come at me and they go, but 3 deaths yesterday is 2 deaths too many. Of course it is, but 500 died yesterday, Dan, of cancer. 500 died today of cancer. They have been doing and they will do forever and increasing. 180 people die every day from heart disease. That's going to increase because people are still scared to go to the hospital and to go to A&E. Now, I don't quote Sue from Facebook. I talk to people who are not able to speak out, who are within the National Health Service, who are telling me today. I spoke to a nurse today at a big northern hospital. She told me that her own mental health suffered during the 2017-18 flu epidemic because we had 50,000. In that epidemic, between the 7th of January and the 23rd of January in this country, we lost 23,000 people. Did anyone know? No, they didn't. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am not a Bill Gates rules the world person. I'm not. I know that coronavirus is a very, very horrible virus and people die a horrible death. But the point being is, if we are allowing a government to have the power to click their fingers and quarantine somewhere without giving us the facts, there are people with domestic violence being locked down in these communities, rural communities being on the outskirts of, say, Bradford Metropolitan City Council at the moment, who haven't had a coronavirus case since March. They are being locked down, they're losing their jobs. Depression, I'm an ambassador for SANE. Depression has increased twofold, twice as many, with clinical depression, anxiety. Suicides are now 20 a day. Domestic violence killings are 5 a week. And on the 19th of August, we had 0 COVID deaths. Was that reported? No. All I'm asking for is perspective.
One of the problems that you raised, Denise, is that the government is so terrified of being blamed for any more deaths, they are allowing public opinion to lead them, rather than Boris Johnson coming out publicly and talking about some of the things that you are. I mean, Denise, Birmingham City University news study, 91% of people in England live in a neighbourhood where there hasn't been any official COVID cases for a month.
Dan, in the world, 99.9 people who have tested positive for COVID have survived. That doesn't say as you get blamed for being either a right-wing. I'm a Labour girl, you know that. I'm not a right-wing conspiracy theorist. Dear God, I have find myself agreeing with some people who are righter than than I am, but that's because this is not a political issue.
No, it's
for
not
me.
about politics.
But a very outspoken voice,
Well,
Professor Carol Sikora,
yes.
has also said that we are now going to be losing thousands and thousands and thousands of people because of undiagnosed cancers, some of whom are my friends who can't get a test. My friend was diagnosed Parkinson's in January.
Yeah.
He's been told he's on a 50-week waiting list on the NHS for his Parkinson's because of the backlog, because of the virus.
Well, there is a ticking cancer time bomb in this country. Carol Sikora has been pointing it out for a very long time. I asked the Prime Minister about it. He insisted that anyone who needed life-saving cancer treatment would get it. But unfortunately, as far as I can tell, that isn't happening.
If COVID-19 is as deadly as this, should we be able to send a swab through the post? Would we do that with Ebola? Would we actually swab and put it in the post if it was going to be potentially that deadly? These are only questions that I want to be asked. If I know why rules are made, I will abide by them. But at the moment, I think that they're playing with people's personal freedom and with the mental health of this nation, which is at an all-time low.
Your colleague, Carol McGiffin, was on Kevin O'Sullivan's show last night, and she had some strong words about Piers Morgan, who is, of course, a fellow star.
I've just seen his response. He blocked me 4 years ago, so people send me his responses to things.
So do you have a message to Piers?
Not particularly. I'd be very curious to know where Piers gets his data to very unsympathetically tweet the other night, this pandemic has only just started. How do you think, Dan, that affects people who are already living in fear about the autumn coming and the second wave that at the moment even if he did have evidence to prove that that was the case, why say it like that? My friends, they've lost their livelihoods. They've lost their careers. They can't feed their children. Many of them are on the excluded list of 5.6 million taxpayers who've had parole for 5 months.
And Denise, the furlough scheme hasn't even ended yet. So the economic catastrophe
and my friends are furloughed, who are theatre performers and crew and technicians. And then people go, oh, just because you want to go to the theatre. No, it's not. Nobody seems to talk about the fact that 5 months ago, people knew nothing about this condition. Now we have dexamethasone, we have Remdesivir. People have found that they're not ventilating people. They're proning them by turning them, not cures, but incredible treatments that have actually meant that 2/3 more people in ICU are coming home.
We're learning.
And yet it's become almost a crime to talk positively about advances with this bleeding virus.
Well, Denise, look, I know we don't agree on everything, but the thing I love about you, and I always have, is that you will always have that dialogue. So you've got an open invitation to come back, because I think it's so important that voices like yours are given a platform during this discussion, because we won't hear much actually from that point of view on the BBC or ITV or Sky News or many other radio stations.
Dan.
So there we go. That was Denise Welch. I'm going to pop the link for that in the chat room for everybody. Myself, I'm with Marilyn Wisby on this. I think that's the next bit. I think everyone's going to know that it's BS. It's just straight BS. No one's actually going to give it any more airtime. But I feel like these are stages that are bringing people out of an alpha, beta, state 9 state of slumber. I feel like no one's going to go from 0 to 100, and it's going to have to go through the stages for people to get from A, B, C, D to where they need to be to understand that there's a lot of things that have been said that are false. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have to say that, I have to say that every word that she said is so powerful. Every sentence, all the facts, and it's so, wow. Powerful to hear her, and this is not something that you would hear on the mainstream media. And I wish, we would have Nira. I would even suggest maybe if you can.
I think that the video, the interview that you said about that we showed last week from Israel. There are like particular moments in history television, okay, that sometimes we get a little glimpse of truth getting penetrated into the screen, okay? And those moments are precious for me personally. Like every time that I see a moment like that, a glimpse of truth penetrates through the screen, for me it's just, I don't know, fills my heart with joy. and this was again one kind of like a moment like that, and it's nice that I guess that the mainstream media is starting to give a place to interviews like that. But I do think that this is also part of their manipulative way to create kind of like an alternative smoke screen, okay, that we will soon talk about it. For instance, in Israel, we had Professor Yoram Lass, okay, who was a very, he was actually the chief minister, the CEO of the Ministry of Health, like back in the 80s. And once this pandemic started, so he was the first one that came to the mainstream media and said, no, it's all like a big fuss about nothing, and it's all like you're seeing it wrong, and no one was. Everybody invited him to these shows to come and speak, but they kind of like brought him as a comic relief. Okay. He's like kind of like an old man, and he looks like he has this face of like I don't know, trying to I don't know, maybe what's his face like, John? I don't know, trying to.
Well, he's basically saying, yeah, no plague, but then in the end he says, yeah, well, you got to vaccinate. So it's like a solo position.
Yeah, but they kind of like brought him to these shows as a comic relief, as something which is not supposed to be like serious. And after that, they issued all kind of memes about him, and it was kind of like, and he actually got into all kinds of like entertainment shows. Okay, like he became a moment celebrity, but because he was saying that this pandemic is fake. So it's kind of like a game of the media that he plays, that he brings up the character that will tell the truth, like Denise over here, but will sometimes treat them as as some kind of like a conspiracist, as nut jobs or whatever. And this is very sad that the mainstream media is doing this trick over there.
No, I'm just ascertaining. I've got another guest. Oh, sorry, Kenny. I've got another guest joining. Yeah. I'm just double checking that it is who I think it is, because I can't take any risks, my darlings. So yeah, if you can hear me, I've just popped it into the private chat.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to do that. So yeah, if anything, I'm just going to have to. Yeah, probably is odd. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just. Okay. So. Okay, so yeah, no worries. Sorry about that bit of dead time there. I just need to. Sorry, I'm just staring at the screen for a second. No worries. I just need to keep the stream secure. So I've only given out the link to one person, so I'm going to have to just leave that there for a second. Not a problem. We are now going to go onto the second video, which I need to share with you all now. And that is from Skype. I've got this video today. Shout out to Jamie for sending it to me. Shout out for a lot of people for sharing this video today. It's a brilliant video. She says it perfectly. Yeah. She says it perfectly. So we're just going to literally do that right now for you all. So here we go. Can you all see that?
She's beautiful.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, so I'm just in my car on the way to work, and I thought I would show you my certificate of bollocks. This is my certificate of bollocks, and it says this certificate. Well, it says certificate at the top, and then it says this certificate certifies that Louise Hampton made a difference to patients' NHS COVID-19 response. Thank you. Signed 25th of June 2020 by Kevin Brown, the National IUC Director. Okay, and I also got a badge as well. It's somewhere in my bag, but I can't find it at the moment. Yeah, so I made such a difference to the NHS COVID response. It's my proof. I have my NHS badge there. I'm an NHS worker. I also have a smart card, which GPs have to access the system and your details and shit like that. So yeah, I'm an actual NHS worker, and apparently I worked really hard during COVID. Did I bollocks? That's why it's a certificate of bollocks, because our service was dead. We weren't getting the calls. It was dead. COVID is a load of bollocks. So this is my certificate of bollocks for everyone to see. Okay? And I didn't clap for the NHS. I didn't clap for myself, because why would I clap for myself when I did fuck all? There you go. I'm on my way to work. Love you.
Bollocks.
Yeah, powerful.
Get a bollocks.
This is, I'm at the point where I'm just like, what more needs to be said there? I mean, she was just like, so I'm trying to work out what I did. That was a lot of nothing. So not really sure why to be applauding myself. So I think it's just a case of more, well, this, again, I know Saturday's coming into the conversation a lot today, but I think a lot of people are going to see on Saturday how many people are going to come out and talk about what's actually been going on. So that is that video. And I don't have a link for that, I'm afraid. I haven't found that. That is probably on social media. And if Asita can find a link, or one of you can find a link, pop it into the chat room, as in the Skype chat room or this private chat room, if you're able to do that. So no worries. So yeah, I've just got this last link just now before we go to the main part, and we're just running a few minutes behind. But yeah, if you would just bear with me, I'm just going to share this last link just now, because this was shared up on Stand Up X's Instagram. And I took one look at this video and I was like, do you know what? I think more people need to see this. So without further ado, I'm going to share the audio, and I'm going to grab this Chrome tab and bring it up onto the screen and share it right now.
Hi, Denise. Finally got around to making this video. You can imagine it's kind of hard to keep a good level of mental health in communist Melbourne. I thought I'd send this now because today is the 25th of August. I'm currently in Melbourne, Victoria, which is like the worst hit state in Australia. We're currently in what's called the state of disaster, which means having a curfew. We have to be home by 8 p.m. Can't leave the house until 5 a.m. We're only allowed to leave the house once a day to go to the shop or to exercise, maximum an hour. And we can't go further than 5 kilometres from the house. So yesterday on the news, they said that they were extending the state of emergency, which is like a slow, just a little bit less than state of disaster, but one of the same. And they're extending that for 12 months. So already they forecast that we're going to need some level of restriction for at least 12 months. Personally, I think that they will flit in between the state of emergency and the state of disaster as and when they require more control. And we're supposed to have another like 2 or 3 weeks of the state of disaster, which is this absolute communist rule. And then it's supposed to go down a level, but we don't know. The figures are ridiculous. I think there's been 450 deaths in the entire Australia in the last 6 months. And I know that specifically in Victoria, as per the government website, the average age of the deaths is 83. And they've got all this stuff on the news about, oh, it's such a big issue in aged care facilities and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But, they really are stopping everyone's lives for the sake of, I don't want to say, but people that are nearly dead dying from it. And it's getting to the point now where I think this is the turning point. Yesterday, when this was broadcast on the news, this is when, there was more uproar, people not willing to accept it. And if I'm honest, one of the main reasons why I'm even so vocal about this on my Instagram, my Facebook, trying to get the truth out to people, is from watching your guys' videos in the UK. Obviously, I'm from the UK. I'm a backpacker, but I've been in Australia for 1.5 years now. I'm one of the fortunate ones that I've got, somewhere to live, and I have got a job currently, which is going to be just for another month or so, and then just see what's going to happen from there. But this is like the turning point. Like, I've been watching your videos, seeing so many, realizing that so many people are awake and understanding the same thing, because otherwise you can feel so alone with how much they're censoring stuff on Instagram and on Facebook. Like, personally, I've had posts removed or filtered or whatever for being fact checked or being wrong information, when I specifically make sure that I talk about things. It's like, there's a theory that this and the other, there's a theory this, I don't talk about anything as fact, it'll still get filtered, still get censored or whatever. And it's getting to the point now where it's just too much. I genuinely feel like they're using Melbourne as a testing ground to test the compliance. You know, it's not as overpopulated as like places like England and whatnot. And it's kind of a good place to kind of see how people will gauge. And so up until now, I'm going to be honest, people have been not too bad. So after 8 p.m, no one, you know, if you wanted to sneak around and have a look, like there's nothing. Face masks mandatory all the time. And like, so they've restricted people going to work now, but just before that, the people even going into the office have to wear a face mask all day at their desk. And if the state of emergency is extended for 12 months, I believe that that will be something that is part of that 12 months, the wearing the face mask around the clock, basically. That's something that's always been pretty standard. But yeah, so it's never been more time than ever that we need something like stand up here, because it's gone too far. If people accept this way of life and then, and you know, they listen to the government when they just want to extend it for another week, for another 2 weeks. Oh, you know, well, until this time, you know, they've already basically said that you're not going to have a summer. You know, remember in that summer, summer and winter in England and Australia was like flipped. So we're in winter at the minute and obviously coming around to summer. They've already basically said, no, none of that. None of your festivals, none of the things that are going to make you happy. They purposely want to keep people of poor mental health, you know, in a poor mental health state, living in fear, living with anxiety, because when it's like that, they are going to just sit there and, you know, fall to their knees and listen. I've actually had people like slide up in my DMs, slating the things I'm saying, telling me to stop reading propaganda and all this, like, you know, bullshit. I really remain a level head because I can understand why some people are still buying into it, because everything is purposely built for that. The media, your mainstream media, what you see on telly, the things that you read, everything's censored to try and keep everyone in the same sort of mindset. But there are people waking up. You know, I see it everywhere. I see it every day. That I see even me personally talking to people and then them changing their mind, you know, and I really, really hope that there's something that can happen where stand-up comes to Australia, because how you guys are doing it in the UK is perfect. Like, I love it. It really inspires me. It keeps my, you know, keeps my hopes up, because if that can happen there, then it can happen here. And at the minute, we are in the worst lockdown restrictions of the entire world for the sake of 450 deaths and the average age being 83. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, so the sooner you can sort that out, happier I'll be. Thank you.
So that was a message to Jimmy at Stand Up X from Australia. People have had enough. So they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. The people in general, internationally, worldwide, it looks like there's, you know, Dublin, look at Dublin, look at Ireland just the other day. That was insane. And my lovelies, have we got a treat coming up from you? If you are woke and you are sitting with us right now watching this, and you're woke to a degree where you have had enough, and enough's enough. People have been sitting around coming across truths for years, and now something's actually being done about it. We have got a treat lined up for you. So I hope you have got yourself relaxed, chilled, got a drink. Don't worry, I'm going to let you do your thing, babe.
I know, I just want to, whilst we're still on the subject of that video, you know, it's a big shout out to Jimmy, Nacho and Kelly for being so resilient out there every single rally, come rain or shine, keeping the troops morale up. Nacho's just a G on the mic. But yeah, if you know,
those are absolutely. You know what did it for us, Brighton?
Oh yeah.
Well, to be honest, they really rallied. Everyone, you know, they were getting heckled, and it was quite intimidating for some people. Some people had to come up against, but they really found the strength within themselves to rally everyone up and get everyone. Yeah, it was just truly.
And that takes some courage. I mean, like if you look back on the Brighton scene, there was thousands of people on that beach, like just staring and like, what's going on? So that anyone who's got the guts to get down there and show your face and support and speak your truth, you know, kudos to you. But can I just say, Liverpool, wow.
These are
the these are the guys. So with the little grey hoodie, Kelly's in the middle, little sweetheart, and good old Jimmy. His kid is so cute. Oh my God. His kid is so cute.
These people are warriors. These people are absolute warriors. We've seen them sweat. we've seen them in rain, we've seen them in the blazing heat.
Oh my God, Brighton was
yeah,
hot, crazy.
Yeah, it really
crazy
was.
hot.
You stumbled upon them when they were just literally a handful of people.
And it was just by accident. I was on my way to a memorial sort of thing, and I just saw muzzles or something, and I just like, whoa. Lucky enough I had my GoPro. And then I just turned around quickly, stopped and filmed them, and ever since that we've just clutched onto them. But then I realized actually they were the same group but under a different name way back when the lockdowns were relaxed. Remember the first Speakers Corner? Same group, same people. So they've been out way longer than recent. And
now look where they are. It was we've been moved, we've been brought to tears of joy. It's been very emotional looking at some of the scenes that we're about to show you, and I'm already welling up a little bit, but I personally want to say to the three of you on that screen that are right beside us right here, Nacho, Kelly and Jimmy, thank you for doing everything that you're doing, because we have been we've been honored to be able to watch the organics of where you've taken it. We saw the bravery in London when you took out that march onto the street into the middle of a really busy Oxford street and faced head-on traffic and brought them to a standstill. That was powerful enough. But then what we saw in Brighton, bringing everyone down the streets in Brighton as well,
walking down
this was
that
just
beach
truly
park.
monumental stuff. And for the woke community, for the awakened community, for everyone that's on their pursuit of truth, the streets is where it's at. Taking this information and bypassing the internet, you will find an incredible amount of people do not buy into what the complicit mainstream media is selling right now. And it's knee-jerking people from just a few months ago. They've awoken and they're out there. So,
and everybody that you're working with up and down the country as well. I know it's not just you guys. There is a massive group of amazing people up and down the country. Liverpool, wow, you guys just... you really touched me when I arrived there. So big up to the Liverpool team, and I hope I did you proud with the footage. But yeah, the whole stand-up crew on the ground, well done to you all, really well done.
Yeah, and to all of you in the chat room as well. Big love to Marilyn as well. Way back when there's a lot of people that have been out there on the streets for an incredible incredible amount of time, engaging with people and having these most important truths. And we, before we played this, obviously there's a lot of other people that were involved in Liverpool, but we've had the personal opportunity to follow the three people that are up on that picture, and we've seen some truly monumental stuff from them. Again, I want to give another shout out to John Smith Globe Life for coming down to Brighton and to see these people in person, in action, and interact. It was lovely. You got to meet him as well. Riley in Liverpool. All these people you're seeing come out in person. Mr. Cheswick, and your amazing wife, and Samley's Banana Camp as well. All these people that have been coming out. We just hope that many, many more of you that are watching this can find it somewhere within yourself to unify and get behind what's going on, because the Great Awakening is happening. The wave has already started, and with what you're about to see,
the wave has already been ridden.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
The girl we saw, is she from Australia? Is she in Australia? The girl we saw in the video. You're on mute, I think.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, she's based in Australia. That last clip that we just saw. But yeah, there are people all across the international community now, but it seems that she's from the UK. She's based over there, and from what she's seeing, she needs to stand up within her own right as well. And so, yeah, it seems that a lot of people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and this is an absolute amazing example being set right now. People taking control of this situation themselves and banding together and realizing together they're much, much stronger.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize we have such a unique opportunity to technically take our power back. There is nobody that's going to stop us at this point. It's just dependent on whether we can band together. The tools they've done in order to segregate and divide every single one of us in every way possible. Right now, we have the opportunity to remove those borders and unite together. Stop, drop the egos, drop the attitudes and the big I am, and let's work together and just give our power back to the people. I just don't even know how it's going to be done, but it's happening, and we all just need to just jump on that wave, keep going.
Yeah, I think that's the last show. I remember spoke about the term of save humanity, and I think that this sounds it all. Okay, this is what we need to do right now. And I'll be honest, I've been watching your footage lately, and I think I'm speaking to Joe's behalf as well. All we have to do over here is just to jealous, okay? Because this thing is not going on in Israel, and we're jealous of you guys too, that you are like in this experience and get this thrill of being a part of this protest. But in general, we don't see that happening over here in Israel. We here the protest has gone all political and all like I know institute finance and whatever. And here what we remain to do is just to chill back, get some popcorn, and see what real protest looks like. And this is you, Roxanne, your news.
You should start one. Just one every single weekend, and they'll soon join you.
Or even better, just get the whole of Israel to share this footage and ignite a wave of awakening that brings people out in unison the way we're about to show you. So yeah, guys, without further ado, I hope everybody's comfortable, got a drink. Before I do play it, I'm going to leave Asita to say the last few words before I press play. Really? But yeah, for all of you in the chat room, thank you for rolling with us this far. Please share this stream far and wide. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we are about to unveil the next stage of the Great Awakening across the northern territories of the UK. That would be Liverpool and Leeds. There is absolutely hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people to thank for all of their efforts. We spoke and saw an amazing amount of people. Thank you so much to Sleeping Warrior, Mr. Cheswick, Sam Lee's Banana Cam as well, for coming out in person and being part of it. And Sleeping Warrior, you carried Mickey all the way round Liverpool.
We actually have footage of that.
Yeah, we have proof. We have proof. Yeah, proof. We have proof of that. We carried them all the way around Liverpool. So you know personally what it meant for the mummies and daddies and aunties and uncles that were carrying children around the city that day. It was an arduous walk for some. And I respect each and every one of you for making the effort to be there. I'm sure there was quite a few people that were turning up at Liverpool going, do you reckon anyone's going? It's raining. I mean, I think if Sleeping Warrior's in the chat room, I'll let him explain what the weather was like that day. But he was making his way to Liverpool through some of the most torrential rain I've ever seen in my life, which pretty much I think was designed to put people off, but didn't seem to have an effect, did it?
Oh, no. And this is the thing, when you look at the previous footage in Shoreditch, that was again rainy. Nope, people still got out onto the streets. In Brighton was really, really hot, and you know, people could have easily just been like, "No, I'm going to drop out." But there was a guy, I'm sure he must have been in his 80s. No offense if you want.
So
yeah,
can I ask?
The beginning right to the end, and even still cheering them on right at the end. I was just like, "Wow, I'm just oh." So, yeah.
It's truly like stuff that you've never seen before, stuff I've never seen before. John, you're more than welcome, darling. What would you like to ask?
In the UK, is it mandatory to wear masks right now in the street? No,
from 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. It will be in Paris though.
Okay. So
yeah, unfortunately for the Parisians, they're up against it. Paris is enforcing that from 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, that all Parisians are to wear masks mandatorily. So we'll see what the Parisians say about that.
So the people who are protesting in the UK are saying basically there is no pandemic. We do not need masks. I'm asking. Is it?
Long story short, they're saying we've been lied to on a multiple facet of levels.
Mm-hmm. Because and I'm sure that some of them, for them, it's the first big lie that they are discovering. Some of them, perhaps this is the big awakening, and they will be awakened for the other
Glad
thing.
you're saying that, John. I'm really glad you're saying that, because that's exactly what this footage is about to show you. Truth and transparency all the way forward. Again, To any of you watching that we interacted with that day, we will make sure we put your social media in the description as well. Thank you so much for being brave enough. There were a lot of people that were very nervous to speak to us in fear of the fact that we were mainstream media and that we were going to maybe twist and, you know, that's to be said. They were really cool people for doing this.
Yeah, I will highlight there was a lady, I can't remember her name, but she's from Protest
UK.
Yeah, big shout out to you. I promise you, I didn't trim your video down. My camera was actually messing up, and I realized pretty much up until the point you see it wasn't recorded. So I was like, oh crap. So but I did capture the ending, and at least I got your details out there. So don't think that I trimmed you down. I just didn't have the footage, but would love to see you again, and I would love to have another interaction with you. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, my darling. So without further ado, please sit back, relax. We've got some absolutely amazing footage, and thank you so much to everyone that took the time to speak to us and interact with us. You are truly amazing. So without further ado, enjoy, my darlings. Here we go. Well, I'm really sorry about this. I'm going to have to pause it because it would seem that YouTube's really trying to not play ball right about now.
I mean, they're even taking ages to render this video.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally try and see if we can fix this. So Jumpy not sharing for Valley Parks. Can we get a bit of feedback from what everyone did see there? Because from our end, it was playing perfectly. Yep, little glitchy. So yeah, we are in the process. I'm just going to let you know at this moment it's 45% uploaded. We are literally trying to play this direct from the computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and I'm put it on a lock screen and see if that works. It was on a widescreen, if that makes sense. Yeah, possibly. So let's okay. Logo buffering, choppy, jumpy, coffee pool, surprise. Yeah, National Memorial Gardens. Everyone knows what's up right about now. We've got some absolutely monumental footage to show you, and it's an hour's worth of footage. So that's why it's uploading it and trying to stream it. Okay, that's why it's jumpy, because we're trying to do two things at the same time, apparently. So
it shouldn't do that, because if you're able to stream something online whilst you're still.
Jonathan Hobbs said it was getting a bit more smoother towards the end of the clip. I think what they are definitely doing is they're trying to put us off from showing you what we're trying to show you, because it is absolutely, it's a YouTube scandal. I'm loving the support in the chat room. Thank you so much. Everyone's seeing this getting absolutely, grabbled. Coffee pool, lifting the lid, National Memorial Gardens, Sleeping Warrior. You can't upload to YouTube and broadcast at the same time. We're not on YouTube though, we're on StreamYards. Yeah, we're not even on YouTube. We don't have any YouTube tabs opened other than the one that we're uploading, and that's not even to the channel that we're streaming on. That's for a different channel that's signed into a different account. So yeah, I'm just looking at the upload bandwidth. Okay, so we're getting some information in the chat room. So yeah, okay. So what we'll do is we'll try and fix that little glitch in the background. And while we're doing that, how about we just jump into the international section while we try and remedy this in the background? And maybe if we can remedy this in the background, we'll come back on around in about 5, and we'll start the first segment of the international section. So yeah, Nia, John, take it away while I just do a little bits and pieces in the background here.
Yeah, sure. First, here I think to speak a little bit. We mentioned before, I think Australia and other places that kind of like coping with all the restrictions. Over here, I think in Israel, it's kind of like funny. This is why John asked before what if it's required a mask and everything, because here it started like a few months ago already. Like it was compulsory and now we are like in this new normal that that fines because that police gives fines because of mask, which is kind of like became the routine right now, and this is the thing that we all should like be afraid of, this new normal thing. And I believe that John has like a little bit more reports. Is like I think following all kinds of like news about protests and about people waking up all over the world. And yeah, John, take it from here.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I've been following is the thing in Belarus of if anybody heard about what's happening in Belarus. They have basically a dictator over there, and the people is revolting. I mean, rising up, but it's the thing is that the dictator, I forgot his name, decided that in his country there will not be any there is no coronavirus. There's no pandemic. So the pandemic just skipped that place, that country, Belarus. So and then I see the BBC reporting on all these protests against him because they probably want to bring him down and put him in line with the other countries that are part of this grand.
His name is Alexander Lukashenko.
Lukashenko, yeah. So he just decided, and whatever he decided, there was not. Although he is not democratically elected or whatever, he is not cooperating with the New World Order, and that's at least one credit for him, and that he's not part of it. And all those protests are probably manufactured, like other protests in the world that are manufactured. And now, what's going on in Australia, for example, now is probably the worst thing. Australia and New Zealand, I presume, is the worst thing that can be. I mean, the reports on what happens to people, and the punishments, and the police, and the rules. Everything is so strict over there, and I guess that for every country, they have I don't know, whoever planned this, the group, whoever planned this, had each country is its own testing ground for what the population will accept, and what.
I think, John, that we have this theory over here in Israel that the place that kind of like announced that it will begin was right over here, like in the month of December. You know this theory, John, about the Tzidkiyahu cave? No, okay. Anyway, back in December, there was like a big gathering of it was the Holocaust Forum. Okay, over here in Israel, there was a commemoration, I think, for 75 years of I think the Warsaw Rebellion or something similar, or the Auschwitz, I think, destruction. So they gathered all the leaders from all over the world over here. We had Mike Pence was here, and Nancy Pelosi, and Prince Charles was here, Putin was here, everyone was here. And back then, it was also like covered with a big smoke screen with some kind of like scandal that happened over here with a girl that Putin had to release from the Russian prison. Anyways, they did this ceremony over here, and afterwards they had this gathering over the Tzidkiyahu cave, which is known to be a place, which is the ultimate place which was built by Solomon the king, and he was considered to be the first Freemason. So we kind of like I kind of like pictured that in my mind in the following way, that they kind of like gathered. They did I don't know, voodoo things over there, and decided that from this point forward, they kind of like joined hands, said 1, 2, 3, we export Corona to this world from the moment that we're going out of here. And actually, that's the way it was. Like the moment they went out of here, this whole fake pandemic started to spread out. And I think regarding what John said, that every country takes its measures, its own measures, and but you can see that each and every one of the leaders kind of like considered to take this COVID project in a different way, but they all like going to the same direction. Okay, if not by on the first introduction, so in the second wave they will go a lot harsher. But each one took it like in his own private narrative. What's going on with this story? For us Israelis, it looks like Bibi told all the other guys over there, all the other leaders, hey, don't worry, I will operate that perfectly on Israel. You'll see how it works out in a modern country, and you will follow me and do the rest afterwards. Anyway, this is our theory. Could be, could be not. We always like to feel special over here in Israel, that everything started from here. Anyway, John, what do you have to say?
Regarding the thing that every country does different thing to its population, to the citizens of that country, in a different degree. For example, in the UK, I remember that not so long ago, when there was more strict measures, people were inspected on what they're buying in the store. Is it have you bought an essential item, or haven't you bought an essential item? Back then. Now here in this country, it won't work because people will not have it. But over there, maybe yes. So some things that are applicable that can be done in Australia, for example, for the people there, or India, for example. India now, I cannot believe that a nation of 900 million people, at least, was completely locked down by a small government that just dictated this, and everybody complied. It's just unimaginable.
No, the thing in India is that they don't have they don't find the people over there for the mask and everything because people don't have any money. So what they do, they just beat them up in the street. The police officer had permission or whatever to just take a stick and just pound them over in the streets. It's just terrible. Actually, I saw today like a video, a very interesting one. I saw it with Jackie from New York. She kind of like shared it with someone who's like in Australia, in Victoria over there, that the government, the police forces kind of like checked out his Facebook profile, and over there in his Facebook profile, he kind of like encouraged people to go out at 5 o'clock to walk on the street, okay? Because to do shape and everything, this is only like the hours that they are allowed to go outside, and encourage people to go outside to a walk over there on 5 o'clock, all of them together. So the police officers, they followed this Facebook account and kind of like I don't know, caught him over in the street or whatever. Hello, you guessed.
Can we say hi to the awesome Huli Daddy Bear who has just joined us over
Huli.
from the States? Hello, my darling. Can you hear us, sweetheart?
Yes, the stupid Americans are here.
Oh, you know, they love you big time. Mwah. Long time no see, my darling. Do you know what? You literally just rocked up at the right time, babe. You literally just rocked up.
I've been literally since the time I sent you that message saying I've been trying to log on, I've had to reboot my computer 3 times.
Oh, babe, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
Audience that's watching, everyone in the chat room, this is the awesome Huli Bear who is on various platforms. Please, my darling, give everyone a quick synopsis of who you are and what you're about, just so everyone can kind of get a feel for you. I'm going to share the Instagram link in the chat room just so everyone can see the kind of content that you're putting out there. You're doing various bits and pieces, darling. Bring us up to speed with that, sweetheart.
Well, I'm just a truther, and I live in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia. And I've got a podcast called What Would Tesla Do that I have on YouTube and also on Podbean. And I think the last time we talked was right when the corona was hitting. So
that's right.
Got a lot of interesting topics going on right now. I feel like I beat a dead horse with a lot of them. But what are you guys talking about?
Everything and everything. I say that because it's almost like everything goes with this conversation. There are so many things happening, so many people, coming out onto the street, standing up, speaking about children's rights, speaking about the biggest lies ever told, marching up and down the streets in this country. There's been various things going on in Israel where the guys are over there. I know there's been an inundation of things going on in the States. Berlin just rocked it. Dublin just rocked it. There's a lot of places rocking it right now with people coming out safely and in a loving, harmonious environment, telling people to stand up for themselves and take their freedom back. Telling people that all lives matter except pedos. Really love that. They're saying, F Bill Gates and his pedo mates. Yep, I'll buy that for $1. When you hear things that make you feel morally correct, it feels good in your heart when you hear people speaking positive messages about what's really going on. Systemic abuse within the industries, that's not a conspiracy. I think there's enough people out on the streets now to know that that's not a conspiracy. There are people now publicly stepping out and saying the education system is absolutely surplus to requirement. There is people coming out talking about a host of things now. I think everyone's pretty much realized that BLM wasn't the organic organization that it was perpetuated to be. I think everyone has been able to sort the wheat from the chaff as far as organic organizations are concerned and non-organic organizations are concerned.
I have a question for Huli over here, if possible. Did you woke up today with a hole in your heart because there's no NBA games now?
What's your take on the NBA thing, brother? Please put us out of our misery, because Americans everywhere are talking about the NBA and basketballers and Confitus. Apparently the NBA's, done itself a disservice. Have you got any take on that?
The sports thing is not my bag, but I will say that that the BLM thing, I have friends that are into BLM that I have constant communication with, and they're actually a little easier to speak to about this than because of our friendship. Nobody's denouncing me and, banning me and, unfollowing me. But these are people that are African-American or Black, however you want to describe that. Their position is that I don't know that they're drinking the Kool-Aid. They're just so tired of things happening that it's not even about what's going on right now. The statistics right now, I think, except for Jacobs, who is not dead, who's I guess he's in critical condition, is 9 unarmed Black men have been killed in the United States year to date. I think it's about twice that for every other race. So at this point, the numbers, any of the left is describing it like everyone's dying like hotcakes. They're just killing people willy-nilly. And really not the case. The stats don't show, but you're looking at people that watch the media and don't question anything. They don't care about the numbers. They care about what's being fed to them, and that sounds like what I should jump on that bandwagon. And I've expressed that the BLM is obviously a Marxist organization, and they flat out tell you that. I did see a meme the other day that talked about how they have not contributed to any infrastructure. They have not sent a child to college. They haven't created community centers. I've gone to their website and I've tried to uncover what are they doing with their money, because one day just alone they raised $40 million. So extrapolate that into all different kinds of time periods where it's George Floyd or it's the next person. They have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. They're a 501c corporation, so they're a non-for-profit. They cannot directly give that money to the Democratic the Democrats. What they can do is they can funnel it through a organization called Act Blue, and Act Blue can give that money to the Democrats. So the issue is that if my girl keeps me honest. She says, well, how do you know that they're not doing this? I said, because their website's right here. And if you're going to have a website, you're going to talk about all the things that you're doing that are positive. Everything that they mention is about activism. I don't know how much activism costs. Activism is a concept. It's not an organization. You don't contribute money to activism. You can give it to different artists. You can give it to different associations. But we're not seeing anything coming out of that other than division. Just stating that there's an issue doesn't work towards solution. I've asked this a number of times to people that are supporters. I say, because I am nonpartisan, I don't believe in politics. I believe that a politician by definition is a liar, depending on what level of liar they want to be. And I asked them, well, what are the solutions? You want to defund the police? What are the alternatives? And there's never any kind of answer. It's really just, well, we've got to get rid of them. And it's like, well, if you get rid of them, you have warlords. You have the purge. You have mob rule. You have, lawlessness. You have violence in the streets. There's a lot of I've seen many different just clips of all kinds of crazy stuff. Looks like it's Beirut, but the media will say, well, no, there's lots of peaceful protests. Well, then you're not covering those. What you're covering is people, in the streets with ARs and, beating people in the head, and the guy defending his storefront with a fire extinguisher. That's what we're seeing. And CNN is a 24-hour news network that is designed to give you 24 hours of news, whether it exists or not. So we can continue to repeat these things, but they're sensationalist. They are creating a narrative, and they are being obviously subsidized by some organization and or advertising or whatever, because it's entertainment at this point. People being titillated and outraged about whatever is become its own form of entertainment. So with BLM,
another question, if possible.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I think that we mentioned in the show before the term of smoke screen. Okay, with the media creating all kinds of stories which comes out of the blue, and the whole purpose is just to cover the real story, the real thing that's going on.
Exactly.
Do you reckon? Do you reckon that
also to Huli Daddy Bear as well, Huli Daddle Bear? I need to introduce you to Asita Goddess Nut, who is the awesome lady behind the camera with all of the awesome tech that we're out on the streets with now, and she's part of the Really Woke show. So yeah, Asita, meet Huli Daddle Bear.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hello, I don't see you. Mucho gusto.
No, because I just wait. I'm in the ether.
Nice hands.
Yeah.
So what was the question?
Yeah. So the question was, do you think the BLM movement is also some kind of a smoke screen? Okay.
Absolutely.
To present it to hide some kind of a reality which is more important that happens right now, and the media doesn't want to be involved with that. And if so, which kind of reality it is that they want to cover?
Automatically, by saying Black Lives Matter, by having any kind of criticism, you're by default put into a category of racist, which is this ubiquitous term that's being thrown about now that really doesn't mean anything. That dress looks nice on you. That doesn't mean anything anymore. The word nice has been, at least in the English language, doesn't have any meaning. So for someone to not be on board with that, people are like, well, the left is like, well, what's wrong with you? Well, I believe all Black Lives Matter. I don't believe the BLM movement. There are two. It's the distinguishing between the two. That we know that there needs to be reform in law enforcement in the United States, from probably in obviously in other places in the world, but that is it's got to have some kind of a policy, a top-down mandate. People like, and you can Google this, a gentleman named Michael A. Wood, who was in the Baltimore Police Department, had a lot of different ideas and policies. He's a young gun about changing the structure of law enforcement, which is basically playing from the 1950s playbook. They haven't changed anything. And to give you an example about that, because I know people in law enforcement, there are what's called contacts, which are AKA quotas. So in a situation where you're a law enforcement, you want to do the right thing. You've got into this field to do, to do good for the community and to be the white hat and to be the good guy. When you are given a mandate that you must make 8 contacts a day, 4 of which need to result in citation and or arrest. If you are sent by dispatch to say a domestic dispute and you arrest someone from that doesn't count towards your contacts for the day. So you have to create crime where it doesn't necessarily exist. And where do you go? You go to the low-hanging fruit, because the guy that goes and checks my license tag of the police officer and sees my name and realizes, well, this is probably a white guy, there's no reason to pull me over. But there's other reasons to pull over the low-hanging fruit, because maybe they do have a warrant, or maybe they do have a expired registration or what have you, or someone in the car has that. So they know that they can do that. But the issue is if we take this and look at it in a landscape of, say, we have 100 people that live in a community, and we have one police officer who has 8 contacts a day, and he has to go through each day and find those 4 that are going to result in the arrest or the citation. By default, at the end of that month, the potential crime will be reduced by a factor of 4 times 30, 31 days in the month. So you would have less crime in essence. Therefore, you would reduce your contacts commensurate with the crime that is no longer on the streets. We don't see that. And this is an issue in law enforcement. People that I know that have actually gotten out of it because they got in it for the right reasons, and they wanted to get out because their jacket, they're being measured by what they're doing according to policy that is not necessarily about keeping people safe. And in the United States, law enforcement lots of times look like they're coming out of Fallujah. They got flak jackets. They're all in black now. Their vehicles in black. They're blacked out windows. It says public safety on there. They're hiding, for when to get pulled over for a speeding ticket. It's not about safety. They make it seem like what's about safety. And hey, when we talk about systemic racism in law enforcement, I don't think that's the case, but you have to listen to the entire story. What we see with this latest gentleman who was shot in the back 7 times, is in a wheelchair. For whatever reason he was there, and maybe he even called the police. But you don't walk away from law enforcement when they're telling you to stop, and you certainly don't go into your vehicle and start rummaging around. That's anybody with a clue, has any kind of logical, deduction, reasoning, realizes that's a death sentence. They're not going to find out they're not waiting to see if, was he just pulling out, some piece of paper. They're going to assume that you're a threat. You've already posed that by whatever your background is. Bottom line is, police officer tells me to stop. I may think that he has no reason to do that, but I'm going to stop because I don't want to die. It's really that simple.
I think, the only thing I'll disagree with you on there is the fact that the reaction is straight away kill the person. I mean, for me, you're not really using any kind of logical method in resolving something just because someone is going in the back. Maybe they're trying to get their camera out to make sure they don't get shot.
Sure.
That's the kind of place that we're living in now, where people are fearful. If I know I get stopped by police, thank God I don't drive, but and I'm living in the UK. But if I was in the States and I was driving, the first thing I would want to do is pull out a camera
Sure.
To record everything, because you never know what's going to happen. It's that we're living in that sort of scary time. So the first thing a police officer shouldn't do is pull the gun out, or I've just seen way too much footage where I think the power that the police think they have, or the rights they think that they have in order to harm people in the way that they are, sorry, that there's nothing that can justify that kind of brutality. I've seen some videos where there's a guy who's just filming what this police officer is doing, which is abusing another person. Guy's filming to make sure that at least the person has something recorded. Mm-hmm. And the police officer literally knocks him down to the ground for filming. The guy's in his flip-flops, not a weapon on site other than a mobile phone. Nowadays, your mobile phone is a weapon.
Well, listen, I get that. I totally get that. I watch the police videos. I see all kinds of misconduct. It is out there. Yeah. But when talking to law enforcement that I know and I trust, I asked them on a number of occasions, couple of different podcasts, I said, how many of these law enforcement officers are dicks? How many of them are just assholes? He says about 10%. So we do see the police videos are some people that are some real bad apples. They need to be rooted out. My point being is I'm ostensibly a white man. I'm not going to go and do anything to put that officer in a position of deciding whether it's him or me. It doesn't make any sense logically, whether or not you have the right to pull out and go in. But we're also talking about apples to apples. Let's look at it from the standpoint of if you're already in your car and you want to pull and get your phone out, it's the police officers is an advantage point to be able to see things. There's some safety between the two because of the car there. They're outside. They're not in a situation where you're following somebody and they're going and reaching for whatever it is. It's a dangerous situation for anyone that's doing that, white, black, whatever. But we also see from the most recent Atlanta incident that happened where they had there was a gentleman fell asleep in the Wendy's, which is a restaurant, a fast food restaurant, in the drive-through. Wendy's called the police officers. They came, they got the guy out. Apparently he was inebriated on some level. I've heard him talk on it. He didn't seem like he was completely and totally just trash drunk. And the police officers kind of woke him up. I guess he had fallen asleep from maybe because he had drank too much, and they talked to him, and it was a very kind of a mutual exchange of just talking, and everything was comfortable and whatever. At some point, this gentleman decided to grab this police officer's taser and ran off with it. And the next thing you know, this particular person's that they're chasing has the taser, and he can hit one of the officers, and then he can pick up his gun and he can shoot him. There's a lot of what ifs that can happen, and I've gotten a unique perspective recently from my law enforcement friends to say they're in a very, very difficult position. Everyone hates them. There's all kinds of their job by definition is fraught with all kinds of dangers. And on a daily basis, they have to be in a position of making second decisions. So when people on the left go, hey, why didn't they shoot him in the leg, or these types of things? This is not the show 24. This is not Jack Bauer. This is not the movies. There is no training that is designed to teach people how to shoot somebody in the leg. It's just not feasible. And anybody that goes to a shooting range will know that that's just not something that's possible to do. And at the same time, being able to close the distance between someone who has a firearm it's a very short situation. So the most dangerous weapon in the world is a knife. It's not a pistol or an automatic weapon. It's a knife. I can close a distance of 5 feet to get to an individual with a knife and start cutting them up before they might even be able to pull their weapon and defend themselves. So I do see what you're saying, because I have seen that misconduct, but I also see the position of the safety of the people that are just trying to do their job, and somebody that could be a wild card. And I think the response to these things that are happening that are really bad, and we all see it and go, well, this is obviously misconduct, is not to throw all the baby out with the bathwater and expect that all law enforcement is doing that.
Now, let me, if I may, challenge you with a question with regard to what you said. That same incident, that the man who was shot in the back by the police. in the connotation of your friends in Black Lives Matter, do they say that if it was a white man, the situation or the end of the whole scenario would have been different if it would have been a white man and not a black guy, like the man who was killed?
At this point, they're not even considering that anymore. It doesn't. They're really, and I'm not being coy by saying that. They don't want to know what's going to happen with the white guy. They're just saying this is what's happening to our people. I have an old friend who calls it. He says, people that look like me. I'm going to do what's right for people that look like me. It's a polarizing situation where it's at the brink where I believe that a lot of the people in the BLM movement are pretty much like, we don't care what the facts are now. We're sick of it. We're over it. They're not basing this on George Floyd as an isolated incident. They're basing this on 400 years of angst and anger and frustration and terrorizing and lynching and all this other stuff. So they're culminating all of that into this. And that's where we have to look at from their standpoint. I do get a chance to talk to them and kind of find out and hear their side of things. At the same time, it's almost to the point where they're not really ready to listen to reason anymore. Because like I said, up until this point in, this time in the year, 9 unarmed black men have been killed by the police. And the next thing, when I say that stat to people that are on the left, they come back and show me some web page that's got statistics from 2009 to 2012. I'm like, that's another, we can talk about that, but let's talk about what we're doing right now. This is the most relevant thing. And by the way, if you want to go there, that was on Obama's watch. So, it happens across the board. The only thing that would change, and I've offered this solution, is go in, fire all the police commissioners and captains that have a bad record and a bad history of these types of things. Put everybody else on notice that you are in a probationary period, and start installing people that are going by the new policy from the top down. Everybody underneath, all the foot soldiers are going to listen to what their boss says. They're not going to just do whatever. And there's certainly a lot of people that have got some real problems and some real power issues and want to just, they want to flaunt around their we're not talking about just them, we're talking about them as a whole, but they don't have there's no solution on the table. BLM just says we're mad and we're going to burn everything down. And you say
you also need like the police officers who are there witnessing whatever their colleagues
absolutely
do. Not to just stand back. They need to out these people. It's only if it is a handful of them, a minority, then the majority need to speak out and out them. Yeah, it's your colleague, but he's an arsehole or she's an arsehole.
Yes. I did broach that exact subject. I broached that subject with my law enforcement friend. And I said, do the other officers, do they get involved and say, we got it, dude, you got to calm down. We got to take you out of this, step back. Let's take care of it. He said, absolutely. We are seeing those examples that are put into the media, unfortunately, of the ones that don't. Because my position before would be kind of probably what I'm guessing yours is. If there's one bad cop and there's 3 cops standing around and not doing anything about the bad cop, well, they by default become bad cops, right? But that is not the norm. That is the exception. And unfortunately, the media isn't interested in giving you the whole picture. They're interested in giving you whatever picture suits the climate and the need of this time period. I think that it's interesting that this is all happening in a political stage on an election year. Same thing with same thing with the coronavirus. November.
Timing this is uncanny, isn't it? Absolutely uncanny. I'm glad you said that. If it's okay with you all, I'm going to play some footage now that was exclusively filmed this weekend in Liverpool and Leeds. Myself and Asita went out into the mix. We started interacting with people, and we started to scratch beyond the surface with where these people are at, why they're out, why they're doing what they're doing. Just before you joined, we showed an amazing picture of 3 of the people that have really been up and down the streets on the roads with megaphones in superstores, explaining to people to inform themselves, not making any outlandish claims, more so explaining to people to look further and start to question everything, which is what people need to do. As you said, people need to stop sitting at home and just listening to the mainstream media for their quotes, figures and facts, because that seems to be the new thing. Someone's for what they think is going to be facts. Yeah. So that is the new thing. You know, people say, you know, where did you hear that? I heard that on the news. People are like, you know, everyone's giving that kind of face. We can't seem to find someone on the street that does believe the news at the moment. We were hard pushed to knock someone on the shoulder and say, do you believe? Every time we do it, no one's buying it. Yeah, you could.
The masses are missing a healthy amount of curiosity to go,
Indeed.
Where did you get that from? If you tell me something, whatever it is, I've got 5 questions to ask you as a response.
Right.
You know what I thought? Like, I think the news has bombarded people with so much like depressive stuff on a day-to-day basis, morning till night, that, you know, a lot of people's responses like, oh, it's too painful to watch, or it's too painful to listen to. And it's like, yeah, unfortunately, people live in that. You're privy to not having to suffer that.
Yeah.
You just need to get rid of all of it.
So without further ado, my darlings, we're going to share the screen now and we're going to show you this amazing footage. If you're all right, fingers crossed it's going to work this time. We got grabbled the first time, Huli Daddle. So we're glad you joined when you did, because we got grabbled and we're having to start it all over again. So now that you're here, I hope you enjoy what you're about to see, as it's a self-evident truth. We were there in person throughout the whole day. Shout out to Sleeping Warrior. Shout out to all the hundreds of people that came out over the weekend. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And yeah, we will start sharing this now and go straight into it. Okay, let me just remove that off the screen and get it on full screen there. And here we go, my darlings. Woo.
This acts as a protective light. No negative will get through this light. Only positive, loving energy. Now that we've created all this light, we can dedicate the light to the places that need it most. The kids, the survivors, anyone who's still trapped in that sort of situation. planet itself. It needs to be even on a deep level. Just enjoy a few breaths. Each exhale, just feel yourself relax a little deeper. Your shins and your calves, your ankles and your feet, right to the tips of your toes, and glow brightly in the light. The light enters your spine and nervous system, healing and relaxing all the muscles in your neck. The light kicks into your shoulders, slowly down your arms, through your elbows, into your forearms and your wrists, right to the tips of your fingers, and glow brightly.
We've got an amazing singer, Nick Williams, second with us guitar. Ready to play and keep everyone entertained. So let's go! On these topics, we want people to acknowledge these children. We want people to spread awareness on the social media. We are sending our children that we pay. We are a little base. Non-profit organisation made of hundreds and passionate people who want to change the world. We can't stand in silence as we recognize and child trafficking, child exploitation, and child abuse. These are things that no one wants to acknowledge. These are things that people find out the right and shaking them. Now we're just gonna know. We handle flowers, we're gonna break out. Hey, talking about leave those kids alone. Hey. a while, a couple of weeks now. But what you say in a while, you got my knees going weak now. Decision need to be made. But why do we do? It all lives in our big darling. No matter what we do, no matter what we do, it's like a 22. No matter what we do, it's like a 22. No matter what we do, it's like a 22. It's still catch 20. It's still catch 20. No matter what we do, it's still catch 22.
Yes, nice one.
It's a bittersweet. Somebody inside. You're trying to make ends meet now. You're trying to make ends meet. You're the slave to the money. Now take your time. You know we will change out, change out, change out, change because I need in my home, I need in my home, but I'm getting sick of people. One is you, yes, I can get in my home. Everybody's got a life.
Listeners, we're going to be all right.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. Do you have a message for anyone that is watching what's going on and is maybe thinking to take part or unsure? Do you have a call to action for anyone watching?
Yeah, I mean, these children that are being trafficked don't have voices. I feel like every single person that's here is a voice for each of those children. The statistics are just overwhelming of how many children go missing annually, monthly even. And I just feel like the more people that are becoming aware of it, which as you can see so many today, that all these children are getting given voices now, and it's just so, like, it's just brilliant that it's finally happening and people are finally making
How long have you been awake to this?
Years and years, and I think a lot of people have always said, oh, it's just a conspiracy, it's a conspiracy theory, but it's not a theory, it's happening, it's real, and it's going on right before everyone's eyes, and no one...
Do you see a bigger interest in those that you're talking to? Maybe over the last couple of years, people might have thought you were maybe thinking it's just something on the internet?
Definitely. Yeah, because, I mean, there was a girl at the local here that her child's photos ended up on, like, a pedophile website, so I think when it's happening locally and people are seeing evidence that it's happening, more people are definitely waking up to that.
Did you make your banner yourself?
Yeah.
You did? And why did you choose this message as opposed to another message?
It gets to the point, really, doesn't it?
It does. And is that what you're hoping to do? You're hoping to encourage more people to come out?
Yeah, definitely.
Will you be coming out again?
Yeah. I mean, there's one on London on the 29th of August. Yeah, there's one there, so I hope it just keeps on going on and everyone just keeps getting the momentum behind it because it is, people are listening.
Thank you for talking to us, my darling. Thank you so much for talking to us as well. How long have you been awake to what we're talking about today?
Only in April.
Really? This year?
Yeah.
Wow, so soon.
Very soon, yeah.
So what got you out here in person?
Because we need to speak for the children that can't speak. So I feel like we need to be the voice for them. Yeah.
So will you be coming out again? Is this the first time you've come out? Will you be coming out
This
again?
is the first one here. I was on the 8th in St George's Hall, and I'm going to be going to Trafalgar Square on the 29th, so I've just been...
Wow, so you're going to be, both of you are going to be at London as well on the 29th?
I don't know this girl, but you know what I mean?
Just mentioned the 29th as well, so that's quite a long journey for you.
Yeah,
you feel this is something that you need to do?
Yeah, something like with every little bit of breath in my body that I've got to speak up against and stuff like that, and I've got to take action. And
what would your advice be to anyone that's watching now, who's looking at this and thinking, is this for me? Is this not for me? What would your advice be to those that haven't come out yet?
I'd just say to them, get out, speak for the ones that can't speak, and just keep going for them, really.
Thank you so much. Did you make your banner yourself?
I didn't. I got it over there, but I will give it back.
Lovely. I saw you showing it to the buses. I saw you going right up to the buses and getting the banners in there.
You've got to get the message across.
Do you feel people are looking?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to us, my darling. What's brought you out here today with Save the Children?
Just basically, it needs more media coverage. More media coverage. It needs widespread attention, and nobody's paying attention. And these children are getting taken every day under people's noses, right next door to you, and nobody's listening. And it needs more coverage, definitely. And like the sign says, if you don't see the problem, you're part of the problem. Definitely. I think a lot of people are just like,
Thank you.
I think a lot of people don't realise how bad it is and how extreme it is. Yeah, and a lot turn a blind eye to it just because they're so selfish and wrapped in their own lives, and they can't be bothered to be a part of it for them children who need us.
How long ago did you wake up to this?
I've been But to me, it's a personal thing because it ruined my mum's life in my eyes. I mean, she's passed away now, and she turned to drugs and things to deal with what happened to her. So it's very, very strong. I feel so strongly about it. But I'd say about a few months ago, and I am just flooding my social media with it every day, just trying to. Even people who my family, they just still and I think no, you need to. It's heartbreaking. It is. It is heartbreaking.
And yourselves, are you pretty much the same? Talking about it more yourselves now?
Yeah, definitely. I'm talking about it to other people who turn a blind eye. To be honest with you, it's starting to anger me a little bit, and I'm starting to put people out of my life that I didn't think were bad people. But come on, we all need to stand together.
Yeah. How have you felt? Are you local residents to Liverpool?
We live in Widnes, so it's about 20 minutes on the train.
How has this felt for you seeing this many people coming out for such
overwhelming?
amazing
On the march, when we were marching, every hair on my body was standing up. I had goosebumps. This is what it's about. We need to come together. And to be honest, there isn't enough people here today. Nowhere near enough. There needs to be more. We need to stick together.
Will you continue doing things like this until more people come out?
This is the first one I've been to, obviously, because they're not as common as they should be, and they're not as widespread as they need to be. But this, I will definitely be looking for more.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, we've all got young kids ourselves, so it is, trying to make the world a better place for them. It's not just the trafficking; it is not. We're trying to make it happens everywhere worldwide. For Christ's sake, it isn't. It's not. It's wrong. So wrong.
What would your call to action be for anyone that's watching this now, who's looked into this subject, who wants to do a little bit more than just sitting behind their keyboard?
Just do it. Do your research. Look into it. It is true. It is happening, and we need to do something about it. It needs to be changed. Not just for us, for our children, for their future children, everybody.
Did you make your banners yourselves?
Yeah. We did 10 minutes before we were coming.
Brilliant. I'm assuming quite a few eyes have seen those today. We went on a march around Liverpool Did anyone look at your banners as
We
we
did.
were
We
going
was
around?
at the head of the march. Chanting pride of place. Save our children. Definitely.
Excellent. Thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to the Really Woke
Thank
Show
you.
today, girls.
Hashtag save our children.
Obviously, we're here for Save the Children. What's personally brought you out here today?
I've got children myself. I feel like we need to stand up and we need to fight for our children's future. If we don't stand up and fight this and take this back, take the lives back of our children, we've failed them. We've completely failed them, and obviously the future generations, it's got to be stopped. It has to be stopped. Children are the future and we need to protect them.
I see you have a question everything hat.
Yes.
I take it you're starting to question everything yourself.
Question everything.
What kind of things have you been questioning?
Everything, literally everything, anything that the government are putting out to us, anything the media's putting out to us, raise the questions, ask for the numbers, ask for the statistics, ask for everything, every information we can possibly find out. We need to find out, for sure.
Are more people in your life starting to question things? Your friends, your family, your colleagues, are they starting to question things now?
Yes, slowly but surely we're getting there. I started on this path about 8 years ago. I started questioning things, then started waking up, and over the 8 years I've managed to I've managed to help people see the bigger picture of the planet, of help people see in between the lines, because not everything's black and white.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With this march and rally today, is this going to be just the end for you coming out today? When's the next time you're going to be coming out and getting
Every time there's a protest, I'm going to be there. Everywhere, I'm going to try and be as many places as I can.
Would you urge other people to do the same?
Completely, yeah. Completely. Everybody needs to wake up. Everybody needs to fight this. The government can ignore 100,000 people. They can't ignore an army, and that's what we are. We're an army of truth seekers. We want answers, and we want it now.
To the Really Woke Show viewers, could you give us a call to action for anyone that's watching just now, that's looking at this and maybe thinking to themselves, is this for me? Is this my place? Should I be here? Do I have a voice? What would you say to them?
I would say to every single one of you, just take that first step. As soon as you take that first step, you'll see things that you've never seen. Your mind will grow curious, you'll demand answers, and you'll see the world for what it really truly is. Take that step, just swallow that pill and open your eyes, please.
Thank you so much for talking to us today,
no problem.
darling. Have
no
a great
problem.
day.
And
Cheers.
you.
Thank you so much for speaking to us today. I've spoken to a couple of very woke women who say that they follow you on Instagram. What's your Instagram page?
It's Rhys Davis, SR, REISS, like the shop. They copied off me though.
Okay.
DAVIESAUSAR, Rhys Davis, SR.
Thank you. I hear you're prolific on Instagram. You put
That's
out
a
an
nipsey
incredible
word,
amount
that's
of...
crazy.
It's a lot of truth that you're putting out on social media, which is very much needed at the moment. What brought you here today?
What brought me here today? The energy. I support everything what is going on, but I don't know, it just, you can't, certain things that you can't leave.
Sorry.
Like, who would I be to be from Liverpool and not show up to this?
Right.
That's how I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, something like that happening. There was a smaller one of these last week, and I may not be like a speaker at these things, but I'm always on the periphery,
I see you having a lot of conversations with people throughout the day. The conversations that you've been having today with people, have they been different, any more so or less so than the last couple of years that you've been talking to people about these things?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I remember talking to certain people about the truths behind politics and watching certain documentaries about people giving testimonials about what people in Parliament were doing to children years ago. And it's shunned away, you know what I mean? People don't want to take notice, but I find this all ironic how this is all coming to light under Trump presidency. Now, I'm not saying he's an angel, and I'm not really into politics that key. But this is something ironic that we got to look at as to why this is coming out under the Trump presidency. We just want to put that to one side, keep moving, keep researching, and that's just very important to note. Do you know what I mean? Because
like a bit of a landmark. We've not seen this kind of.
Never seen this, and this is something that he uses in his debates against his opponents. He's mentioning how the activities that go on.
Understood. The people you speak to, do you think they're becoming more aware of that as well?
Facts, definitely. Social media has its downsides, granted, but everything is a duality. So these are some of the positives that we've seen out of the emergence of social media and the internet. There was a guy before when we were over by the courts, and he was telling us about this movement that has been going on for 36 years. But the reason why we don't know about the movement that he mentioned, I wasn't aware of it, is because it happened 36 years ago. So it didn't happen alongside social media or the internet.
Understood.
So anything that's happening now, it leaks out through social media, and that's one of the blessings of one of the ages that we're under astrologically, as we're in the age of Aquarius. This is happening just as a byproduct of nature. This is all natural. This is supposed to happen. This is on time. You know what I mean? So yeah.
There seems to be a general testimony amongst people that we're speaking to that there seems to be a culmination of things happening at the same time right now. Do you feel that that's a coincidence?
The coincidence is this is the age that we're in, you know. I'm into observation and tracking patterns, and I look at the celestial bodies and I learn from people who've been studying the movements of the planets and the stars way longer than me. So I can tell you that this is the time and that the age that we're in. This is all being influenced from forces that go way beyond Earth. You know, this is the age that we're in, the age of Aquarius. People should research that. And the reason why I mention that is on the back of the emergence of the internet. Look how much more conscious people are becoming, and it's because of technology. Now, it does have its downsides, but you know, these are some of the things that we can organise. There's a revolution in consciousness. We can distribute information with no fees. It's light speed, you know. So we can share information very easily nowadays and control the media, whereas in the past, that didn't really happen.
Yeah.
We were controlled by radio, TV, you know, newspaper and stuff like that. So now it's important, like what you guys are doing, is to start controlling your own story, telling the story that you see.
Not waiting for someone
We've
else.
never had that power before, and that's what these movements are a byproduct of, is people taking back their own story. You know, no one can tell me the way I see things, but we've always been forced to see a particular way because we've only had limited sources of information. So this is the beauty of this age that we're in. It's diversified, you know, everyone can share what they feel, and then we get byproducts like, you know, a revolution in consciousness.
Yeah. What would you say to people that are watching this now that have never been out to anything like this, that know about these truths, but personally haven't brought themselves in person out yet? What would you say to anyone watching this now?
What you're doing by not coming or not paying attention to this or not showing up is you're not contributing to the effect that this is having on the field. And when I say the field, before matter becomes into third density, where we can physically measure it, it exists on an energetic field, right? So we know this in quantum science as maybe non-locality or quantum entanglement, or it's even spoken about by Professor William James Gates as superstring theory. So we know that everything is connected and it's invisible to our physical measurements, right? But there's a quantum field that exists. So by not showing up, you're not having an effect upon that quantum field. You're actually sitting on the sidelines, and by default, you lean towards the oppressor and their agenda when you sit on the sidelines and don't act. So it's
imperative,
back
really,
to that
for people to get
quote
involved.
is, you know, be the change, show up. So that's what it is, you know, like we've even got celebrities turning up right now that you can't see but I can see to this. So like there's people from all across the board coming, and whether they know it or not, they're having an effect on a quantum level, and it's sending out like a ripple effect through the city, through media, through all levels of how information can distribute. It's a ripple effect that happens, and to not be a part of the ripple effect, I mean, that's on you.
Are you seeing more social acceptance of these topics in general amongst people talking about it?
Nobody wants to know about anything else. Just child trafficking, but there's a big picture behind it, but everyone else needs to find out, because it's good now we're getting awareness over the child trafficking, but there's so much to the story that so many people don't know.
Did you say you had an online group? Could you advertise that again for us?
Yeah, it's Protest UK, uploading all the protests that are going on in the UK.
And is that online website, Facebook?
Stand Up, I follow loads of people, but Protest UK.
Thank you, my darling. Will you be coming out to any more of these protests?
Hopefully the ones that are local to me, I try to, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for talking for us today. Cheers.
7 months of Christmas, 7 months of constant healing, and my son has finally returned to me. And he wanted to come here today. He wanted to come here today to speak on behalf of all the children that have no voice. All of the children are sent to live with their abusers via the family courts. Never give up on your kids. Don't ever give up on these children. Every day
Love's sinking in the sand. Petals falling under me. My feet are running like the wind. I'm sorry, boy, that we sinned. Love is not like they say. A light is hard to make it stay. I drown my feelings in the sea. The dried out.
Took the video of the whole thing. The judge said to her, "Where's Mr. Steele going for you in that video?" He actually said to a barrister, "Have you watched this video?" And he asked her, "Where's he going for you?" It was a conspiracy to try and get me locked up, to get me gagged, to get me shut down from telling you, because we knew what 5G was. And they did not want that information. It's on your street furniture. The LED streetlights are illegal. They're toxic to biological life. Leonard just come in on the ring road. They've put new LED streetlights. The smart motorways are a death trap. They're toxic to life. They'll blind you. They'll blind you over time. Those LEDs, the bare elements, are lethal. They're an illegal fitment. I proved it in a court where a judge said the 5G risk must be debated. This is a democracy. The people have a right to know. It was historic. And what's happened? We've heard nothing. Silence. Silence is the shut in the democratic system in the northeast. Not one councillor, not one MP, all ran for the hills because they're criminals. Because the secret services, MI5 of the world, have got pictures of them with children. That's how they shut them down. That's how they control the media. We will lock them up. Anyway, thanks very much.
The government and their willing foot soldiers in fancy dress have absolutely no power over us. They just have the power that we give them. So as soon as we withdraw that, that has put us in this mess. When thousands of people took to the beaches on the south coast, people like Piers Morgan's head exploded, and the council issued a state of emergency. But they didn't do anything about it because it's too many in number. We are the 99.99%, and when we stand together in non-compliance, the game is over. We've been told to stop people dying. We must stop living. I won't accept that. That's not my new normal. Nothing changes a society more than war. But bombs are expensive and they're loud, and populations have had their fill. So we come to silent weapons for quiet wars. A war for our mind and for our acquiescence. We are in the Third World War right now, and a shot hasn't even been fired. The UK governmental policy during this so-called pandemic has not been driven by doctors and virologists, it's been driven by psychologists, because it's a war for our mind. SAGE is taking advice from the Behavioural Insights team, a department of UK government whose sole purpose is to nudge you into a way of thinking psychologically so you will act in a way they desire. Fear. Fear is the currency of control. That's why we were shown leaked footage of people in China literally dropping dead in the street. Why did that never happen anywhere else? They built hospitals everywhere. They built morgues everywhere, all with taxpayers' money. They never used them, but they were never going to use them because they weren't designed to be used. They were designed to scare the living shit out of us, so we'd accept the lockdown.
Not us.
Not me either, no. It's just a 3-week lockdown to flatten the curve. And even when the curve was flatter than Building 7, the lockdowns were extended and expanded because it was never about health, it was about control. Wear a mask and you can have your life back. Cover your face in submission and you can have your life back. Masks that do nothing to prevent the spread of viral particles and everything to damage our intake of oxygen. The build-up of bacteria has already caused great damage, not least in America. Members of Parliament took the knee in the protest against the murder of George Floyd, who died saying he couldn't breathe, while mandating it that everyone in the country has to wear a mask so we can't breathe. Because it's not about health, it's about control. The once great NHS was destroyed and rebranded as the COVID Health Service. Nothing more than a propaganda arm of government. And as hospitals sat empty, cancer went undiagnosed, heart disease went untreated, suicide spiked 200%, domestic violence, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, all through the roof. In America, 25% of young adults have contemplated taking their own life in the last 5 months. 25%. And we were asked to step out of our cages once a week at 8 p.m. to applaud this destruction, even as our jobs and our abilities to feed our family were being taken away, because it was never about health, it was about control. Now, when you look at a government poll, so they'll say in the lead up to an election, say like, you know, the Tories are 2 points ahead or whatever. The first thing I do is look at how many people were polled. And if it's a couple of hundred, you kind of discard it. If it's a couple of thousand, you kind of discard it. If it's in the high tens of thousands, you think, okay, I can see how they could apply an algorithm to that and then apply it to the entire country. Neil Ferguson's algorithms that said 500,000 would die here and 2.5 million would die in America was based on 6 cases. 6 people on 6 flights out of Wuhan. Do you know what I mean? It's mental. Get tested and you can have your life back. A test that doesn't even test for COVID-19. A test whose inventor, Carrie Mullis, sadly passed away, said should not be used to test for infectious diseases. But when it gives them the false positives that they desire, those tests are used to shut down your towns and cities and destroy your livelihoods. And when they shut back down again this winter with no furlough, the suicide levels and unemployment levels we've seen already will be a walk in the park in comparison. All for a so-called virus with a 99.9% survival rate. What's the survival rate for starving to death? See what I mean? And also, if you think, you know, what's going on in Australia is not coming here in the winter, then, you know, think again. Get the vaccine and you can have your life back. A vaccine with 2 possible scenarios attached. Either it's an experimental vaccine that was knocked up in 20 minutes by some lad behind bargain booths and it's never had any long-term testing. Even when vaccines that cause great damage and lead to billions in vaccine damage payouts take years and years and years and years to develop. The average amount of time to develop a vaccine is 20 years. But we've got to believe that this was knocked up, like I say, in a car park. Either that, or they had what was in the vaccine already. And COVID is literally just a Trojan horse that's going to get it into every single man, woman and child on the planet. Whichever one is, the answer's bugger off, basically. Now, all these points that I've raised are quite depressing. I'm aware of that, so I apologise. It does feel sometimes like there's no end in sight, but the end is in our grasp, and it's simply the word no. I will not accept this. I will not get tested. I will not get vaccinated. I will not accept the Orwellian new speak, new normal. I will see my family. I will hug my friends. I'll shake your hand. I will put my hand on your shoulder if you need comfort because I'm a human and I'm going to act like a human. There's nothing normal. There's nothing normal about kids being put in boxes in the playground, away from their friends and family. There's nothing normal about over 60s in care homes having do not resuscitate orders put on them against theirs and their family's consent. Genocide. It's exactly what it is. Them being denied treatment so they can die alone and have COVID put on a death certificate when there's sod all evidence for it. There's nothing normal about losing your livelihood. There's nothing social about being distant from your friends and from your family and your fellow human beings. You can't go to grandma's house, but you can take her to Walton Towers. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't need to, because it's not about health, it's about control. I've lost my final page. You think I should have memorized this by now? It's our social interaction that makes us human and makes us who we are. There's nothing normal about children dying alone in hospital beds when their mums and dads are not allowed to be there with them at the end. There's nothing normal about that, and I will not accept that as my new normal. We are the 99.99%, and we will decide our futures, not them. And when we cease to go along with their impositions, we cease to be under their control. We are free, sovereign human beings, and it's time to start acting like it. Thank you very much.
Is being hypnotized on a mass scale. Everyone is asleep. We are the 99%. Why are we 1% right now? Why? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you. Because the men have become women, and the women have taken the position of men. We need men to stand their ground. I'm calling you all out. I'm calling you out. Where are you? Anything I say today doesn't apply to anyone here, because you're all here. You're all fighting for the cause. Sorry, just bear with me, my phone's wet. They've made every man and woman succumb to the nonsense, the lies, the real virus that they've spread. And what is that? The parasites that are in charge, the paedophiles, the satanic cabal, whatever you want to call them. Now, me personally, I come from an Asian background. For me to see what's going on in my local area with the places of worship, like the mosques, Bradford was the first city to announce in one of the mosques that they've installed a new P4 intelligent control, infection control system that allows you to walk in with facial recognition cameras, checking temperatures, blasting us with radiation, and then walking through a booth to be sanitized, wearing muzzles, and they've broken the congregation. Hello? Hello? Anyone from North Yorkshire here today? Yeah, let's see your hands. Loads of North Yorkshire people. So, 29th of August, a lot of people are going to be going down to London. Yeah? Yeah! But a lot of you won't be going down to London. Okay, so, on the 20th, fantastic, isn't it? That's a fact, by the way, fact checked by me. Okay, 29th of August, next Saturday, 1 p.m, Roundtree Park in York, mental health network event. We've got a number of activities going ahead, okay, so it's a spin-off through Free Nation in York next Saturday. Activities include, we've got a recce session, yoga session, we've got talks on managing stress, we've got talks on children's mental health and mindfulness, we've got the York 5G awareness group coming along, and they're going to be doing a 5 to 10 minute talk on 5G and the effects on mental and physical health as well. I'm launching something called a mental health speakers corner. Okay, so it's a bit of a gamble, but I'm asking people if they have got their own story to tell about their own mental health and how they've coped, or how they might not have coped, how they've maybe gathered some resilience, and what advice they might give to other people who are struggling, to come forward and speak for 1 minute, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or however long you want, to come forward and do that if people are feeling confident and safe enough to do so. Okay, above all, it's very much the same ethos as the event here. It's about people connecting with each other,
about making contacts, and about people sharing their details and keeping strong during these times. That's what all I want to say about it, really. So it's the 29th of August, 1 p.m, Roundtree Park, York. Hopefully see you then. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm good. Right, just a quick one. Documents here. Served on Parliament, 21st of May. Signed, Common Law Court of Birmingham. We produced it very early. The press knew about it on the Friday. If anyone wants a copy of what we did, the lockdown is unlawful. All right? And we formed our own Common Law Courts in Birmingham. Common Law Court, Great Britain, Northern Ireland. John Smith's doing a great job up north. Brilliant. You can get hold of him, see his stuff. And what we're going to start calling it now is the People's Common Law Court, because it's being took over by the courts themselves now. The courts are starting now to claim the common law. Be aware of it, right? Be aware of it, because what's happening now is, if you look up the sites now, common law, they say, is civil law, case law, right? We've produced documentation here. There's a 36 signatures of the two courts, served on Parliament, and the effect it's had has been unbelievable. And what we've also done now is we'll be forming our own common law parliament now. It's been done, it's dusted, right? It'll be a common law parliament. And that will be operating. It's operating now. We're going to back it up with a common law trust. Anyone wants to come with me afterwards? We're doing this underground, on the quiet. On the quiet. Right? There's no websites and nothing. Yeah? Good. Right, so that's the story. So anyone come to me afterwards and we'll suss you out, get stuff to you. But you've got to come in from yourselves, guys. It's got to come from you. You can have there's dozens of common law courts all over this land now. We'll have 40 or 50 soon. But a common law court is 12 of you gathering and doing your own law. It's easy. And then you serve your local council. It's as easy as that. And the common law, the People's Parliament we're going to form is going to use the electoral roll, and you're going to be voted in as an MP, and that will be it. And if you want to do the job, you can. But we are going to have Parliament out soon. All right, I'll tell you that now. Yep. That's all I'm going to say.
Does anyone know the difference between lawful and legal?
Yeah.
Put your hands up if you know the difference between lawful and legal. Guys, have a look around. Have a look around at other people with their hands up. So people who got their hands up know the difference. If you want to learn to empower yourself, you need to educate yourself about your body autonomy, about who you are and what you are. Because there's a massive difference between lawful and legal. If I can try and give you an analogy, if you have a giant cardboard box, okay, that's called law. If you get a matchbox, that's called legal. You put the matchbox inside the law box. Law supersedes legality every time, all the time. Okay, natural law supersedes common law. Sorry, natural law with common law supersedes legal. Okay, legalese is basically guidelines, rules, acts, statutes. Okay, when someone says a word like must, in legalese that means may. So you must wear a mask, it means you may wear a mask. Does that make sense? So if you get a court letter and it says you have been summoned and you must turn up on this date, what it actually means is you have been invited to the courtroom and you may turn up. The word summons is synonymous to the word invitation. So legalese, the language, is English to Russian, is Russian is to English. But it's spelt in English, so you think you understand it. You don't, unless you study legalese. I did it for a year, and it's confusing. It's like algebra and mathematics wrapped in one. Anyway. So moving forward, if you want to know more about the difference between lawful and legal, there's a guy called John Harris who pioneered a movement way back. From the birth of my daughter, about 6 years into that, then John Harris came on the scene, and I managed to educate myself even further and deeper down the rabbit hole. Anyway, moving forward into common law court, there is a website called Common Law Courts you can look up, and there are 4 videos on there from a lady called Shem. Okay, and if you want to really understand about the world around you, this legal world that's been corrupting around you, and you've been convinced that you think you know you're part of it when you're actually what you call misinformed. Okay, so CLC, Common Law Court, look it up on the website. And moving forward to the next part, when people talk about having the vaccinations and trying to fly abroad, or you have to go into shops, so you need this ID code and all these things. Food is going to be another part of the pandemic. Bearing in mind they've been planning this for many, many years, some say up to 10 years ago. So all these little things that are happening right now, this thing here happening right now, is already on their plan, their list. They expect these things to happen. So it's no big surprise to the so-called 1% that we're here. Okay, maybe we're a little bit earlier than they thought, that's all.
I'd like to ask you if you have a message for the viewers about today's cause.
Okay, well, I'm here for my good health, the good health of my son, and the good health of his kids when they come into the world, because the media have done a massive, massive propaganda campaign to terrify people while they've been stuck in their homes and they've had nothing else but the death toll every day. We've not been really told about vitamin C. We've not been told about anything that we could just help ourselves. Nobody's been encouraged to grow their own food, which is really simple. All the old traditional ways that people survived, they were sustained before we had Lidl and before we had Aldi and all of those, food companies. So, yeah, I'm just here to meet up with other people, really, and sort of share some knowledge.
Thank you. What would you say to those watching? Would you recommend coming to somewhere like this?
Yeah, absolutely, because if you've got any doubts, and I think most of us now start to understand that it isn't adding up. I could go on about things that I've picked up, but I think most people are starting to feel like, something's not quite right. So when you come to a gathering like this, you're meeting people who've done research themselves, they've dedicated time to finding out what's going on, and you just make friends and you're getting good information that's like true, absolutely true knowledge, not something that's being fed you because you're stuck and you don't know what else to listen to.
The fear. It's like fear has just been driven 24/7 by the media, and it really annoyed me. So I'm not one for posting on Facebook or anything like that, but I started just putting things on because it really annoyed me, and I thought, it's just lies. And I work in health myself, and I know for a fact fear is one of the worst things for suppressing your immune system and making you ill. So people listen to the news, they're just going to get ill. So like wearing the mask as well, that's going to make you that ill. And you need to get people to learn that it's not the thing you need to do. You need to get rid of the fear, get rid of the mask, and actually come out, meet people, and live like you should live.
Nice.
But,
do you feel it makes a difference coming out and meeting people?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Seeing happy faces and people actually talking and interacting, it's good.
Would
It's
you
nice.
recommend it?
I'd recommend it to everybody, yeah. Everyone should come out.
So there's levels of what's going on right now, and I think for most people they just need to start questioning the fact checkers that are being put out there. This video will probably have a fact checker on it for anything that's said, and you need to look at where the money is going. We've had it all the way through history that follow the money, see where it goes, because all the fact checkers are owned by umbrella companies and big things, and you have to use your common sense and use your heart and listen to your heart. That's really important. If something you feel is wrong, then know it to be wrong. Question everything, because if not, people will walk over you, and in this case the government is walking over all of us. How can it be right if you are locked in your house, if lockdown comes back, if there are people that still haven't left the house? If you're locked in your house, you're not living. That's not life. That's prison. And you can't justify doing this. If you read the science, just look at the science. You don't need to believe in conspiracies. You just need to use common sense. It's really important we've forgotten our common sense. And just listening to the speakers today and all the research, it's so hard to describe what's going on in just a tiny clip. But if you sit and research, there's documents galore. How can you make an informed decision when you're only being told one side of the story? And I would urge people to go out and look at the different side of the story. I'm not telling you to believe what I am saying. I'm telling people to listen to their heart and come up with their own conclusion, but look at both sides of the story.
I've come on my own today. I've left my son and my husband at home just because I wasn't sure what I was coming to. For me, I'm here because I want to meet people with like-minded people, critical thinkers. Switch off that TV, and not just the news. Switch off Netflix. Switch off Amazon. Get onto YouTube. Watch some some interesting videos that make you think, make you question. That's what I want people to do, rather than just follow the narrative that we're being told.
The agenda that they've pushed, the narrative they're pushing, nobody's questioning everything that they've pushed towards us. Until people don't question, we're never going to know the other side. So it's important to always know both sides of the coin, and this is where, when you find that things are being censored, or censorship is happening, you know you need to start questioning it, and this is really where it started. The more you question, real answers start coming out, and this is where I kind of took a stand and thought we really need to move forward with this now.
Men like yourself who have started to speak out and speak up,
Yeah.
are you starting to see more people being interested in the topics that you've been speaking about?
You know, the saddest thing is that you talk about men, a lot of the men today are asleep. Men and women, the roles have reversed. Man has become emasculated, women have become emasculated. What we're finding now is that the men are literally asleep. They're just not asking any questions. We need men, just like we need the women. The women are the bedrock, the foundation of society. They are the pillars and the beams. The men are the walls. Without that, we're just not going to be able to do this. So it's really, really important. It's imperative for all of us to stand up, especially the men. The women are the driving force behind this, and the men are the ones to push this forward. We need to work as a team, man, woman. We need to work as a team.
Will you be doing more bits and pieces in Leeds yourself?
I will.
When can we expect to see you publicly speaking again?
Hopefully in 2 weeks' time.
Brilliant.
So watch this space and see how we get on.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. Again. We
Pleasure.
will try and catch up with you again in 2 weeks. So there you go. You have it right there.
Yeah.
It's only me and you left. Wow.
Yeah.
We're the troopers.
Me and
We are
you
the
yeah. I think this is how truther you are, like how much you stay on the show and ready to take it to the end.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you. I think we've got a little bit of a lag. We're definitely getting grabbled big time. We've been streaming now for about 2.5 hours. And for all of you that are still with us, thank you so much for being here. It was so wonderful to see that footage being played out this evening. We were very much grabbled. Thank you so much to Sleeping Warrior for your awesome
Wonderful ones.
We were able to play it, and all to the chat room: Tomasino, Corvasani, Vagabond, Absimus Maximus, Catherine, Dagon Morningstar, Fishi, Alvincent Fusker as well, and I saw Soundly as well, Plain Drifter, Sven, Esh News is in the chat room. You're there as well. Near, lovely to see you in there as well, darling. And we've also got Tim Burns as well.
Got my girlfriend also like involved in all this thing.
And that's what we love to see. We love to see Anna.
So
we
that
saw
you-
Anna. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Big love to you, my darling. As I said, I don't know what it is. We've got a lag near.
Big part of the Ash News team. Oh,
There seems to be a lag. We've got a lag
perfect.
between the video and the audio on our side, on your side, for your screen. So
Alright.
apologies to anyone in the chat
So
room if we're
valid.
now talking over each other. We're so sorry. But yeah, obviously it wasn't done in the order tonight that we wanted it done in, but we, as I said, we're just relieved to be able to bring you that footage. There's much more coming this weekend. London, there are a couple of events going on in London this weekend. There's also Bristol, and there is more information in the description below for how you can find out where things are going on across the country. There's regular meetup. There's Bournemouth on Saturday. There's Sheffield on Saturday, I think. There's Norwich on Saturday. There is a good few things going on across the UK. So familiarise yourself with the information that's out there. If there's something going on local to you, I'd suggest going and checking it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you see the people that have gone out there to speak about these most important topics.
And Facebook is a really good place to get all this information. If you can join up to Stand Up X and, just start following certain people around, within the last sort of 24 hours, I've found like 7 new groups. I was like, whoa, there's so many of them. So, and they're all up and down the country. So try and, join up to any of the groups and just start finding your ways there, because they're sharing a lot of information that's being censored elsewhere.
Big time.
There's no mentioning of that in the mainstream media whatsoever of like this protest and whatever we saw right now? None.
Big
No.
fat zero.
Big fat zero.
None whatsoever. Big fat zilch, like a zilch.
Yeah, I want to mention like two concepts that two terms that I kind of like learned in my media school years or whatever. The two most like I know known concepts are framing and priming. Okay, priming means like whatever content you put inside the show that you have. If you talk about the news broadcast, so what kind of like contents, what kind of like articles gets into this news broadcast, and the framing is what kind of like approach you're giving to these articles, okay, which kind of like view from the media side. Now the thing is that the framing, okay, is something that which is kind of like observable, okay. You can always see in which kind of like approach or which kind of like side the media is putting in on the stage. But about the priming, this is the thing which is more like tricky, okay, because people are watching television like on the news, and they're saying to themselves, okay, in 1 hour I got all the news that I need to know for today, and the people don't really realize that these topics were heavily considered, like with picking, and this is what they bring you on the priming, okay, on the front stage. And this is not again, I'm returning to these words. This is not a reflection of what is really happening in reality. And as we saw here in this protest, it's like this is what's going on in reality, and well done. It's like whatever reality you can bring onto the screen, okay, that people will get. This is well blessed, and more than any kind of like television channel can ever bring to you.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you. It was an absolute pleasure to go out there and spend that time amongst those people, having those interactions, seeing everything that was going on around us, and pretty much saying that it's a self-evident truth now that the Great Awakening is happening. The truth is an absolute force of nature, and it will not be stopped. And as much as the mainstream media are pounding to the ground to perpetuate the narrative that they can't keep up with the level of awakening that's going on across the international community. That clearly will not be stopped. And as much as people are holding on to the last little shreds of the lies and narratives that have been given for such an incredibly long time, I mean, the lie has been ingrained for a long time, all of these lies, and everything's being pushed to the surface. Even my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter, is sending me trending topics on Twitter where it's all starting to come out. It's all starting to come out. There's whistleblowers left, right, and centre within the entertainment industry. Look what we just showed you at the beginning of today's show. We showed you Denise Welch. We're seeing like people stepping forward and going, no, this is not right anymore. They're speaking up and speaking out and clearly standing up. This weekend is a massive event in London, 29th, Trafalgar Square. Sunday, there are 2 events going on that I know of offhand. There's London, Notting Hill, and Bristol. So as I said, the details for that are in the description. There are far more events going on like that across the next month or so. The immediate one that I can think of is Glasgow on the 6th. I've seen a few people in the chat room talking about that. We will be there as well. We'll be talking to as many people as possible. I will get an opportunity to see my father, which is lovely. So yeah, that's brilliant. Look what the truth is doing. It's connecting people across borders that shouldn't be there in the first place. So yeah, thank you to Plain Drifter as well, Vagabond, Underground, Dagon, Morningstar, Jesse Enns, Thomasino.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Morning stars.
Yeah.
And
love
Jess.
it. Happy Earth Day to you, my darling. Happy returns. Yeah, so that's about it. We're wrapping up for the night. And that's about where we are with things. We're going to be across the country again this weekend. We're going to be filming out in London on the 29th and speaking to as many people that are coming along there as possible. And we're going to have the pleasure of being in Bristol. That's right, we're going to be in Bristol on Sunday the 30th. And again, we're going to be speaking to loads of people there and, you know, bringing the Great Awakening to you as best as we know how. So yes, please do stay tuned. It's going to be a busy weekend. If I can get round being grabbled, I'll go live. But my phone's just not playing the game. It's absolutely fine. And then I go onto YouTube and it keeps shutting down YouTube and then going, no service. And then it goes, oh, batteries run out, and then won't take any charge. And the things, you couldn't make up what happens with this phone. It's ridiculous. And then after we leave where we are, my phone just starts working fine again. And it's like, oh, the second charge and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, if I can go live, I will go live. I intended to go live at Liverpool. I also intended to go live in Leeds, none of which I was able to do. So please bear with me while I get round the crazy grabbling effects of what's going on in these rallies, protests and marches. Nia, my darling, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up for the evening?
Hello. What did you think about our guests today? They were lovely, right? Yeah.
They were. It was a pleasure to speak to John. We'll hopefully get to catch up with him again soon, as we were a little bit delayed tonight. And having the awesome Huli Bear that was on tonight as well. Hopefully we'll get him on again and catch up a little bit more with him. But it was lovely to have them here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really like, getting used to our new format and everything, like with doing it a couple of times a week, and just having fun with you, and the chat room and everything. Yeah, we'll keep on doing that.
You see how much fun it can be being really woke. It can be good fun, right?
Yeah. Just a second, I have to take my microphone for.
Here he goes.
Yeah. This is microphone time at the Really Woke Show. Nir gets his microphone.
Nir's gonna get the old. Go on. That's it.
From Israel, it's now 2:17 a.m. and we thank you. Shalom.
Oh yeah, you got to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday.
No, I'm not singing tonight.
Okay. No, it's all right. Elro says adios, family. Shout out to Londonground, shout out to Asita being in the chat room all night as well. Al Vincent Fusker, thank you so much, Big Brother Bry, Absimus Maximus, Sven P as well. Please do, my darling. Sven, this will be the first Trws reporting from Bournemouth. Anything you can get, my darling. If you can get that uploaded onto some social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, we will gladly play that footage on Tuesday, as we will not be able to get to Bournemouth even if we tried, because we can't be everywhere all at the same time. So we really are calling out to the citizen journalists across the worldwide community. If you can get out there and document the Great Awakening, please do so that we can air it on the Really Woke Show. To all of you, my darlings, thank you so much for being here with us and taking the time to tune in, interact, even if you're watching on a playback. Thank you so much for finding us. You will find a little icon in the bottom right-hand corner, which is the Really Woke Roxanne icon. And if you click that, you'll just be able to subscribe to the channel really easily. So if you're new, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, go and have a look at the About section, see everything that we're doing, and have a look at the channels that I'm subscribed to, and make sure that you're around Tuesdays and Thursdays at around 9:30 p.m. GMT. You can also check out all of our videos on www.thereallywokeshow.com. That is still under construction, but it's there, it's live, we have content on there, and more is coming, my darlings. So yes, and you've got your t-shirt there, brilliantly made. I've got my denim jacket. People say I'm gonna have to have some kind of wardrobe update somehow.
I don't know. I need to count like how many shows do I do with this shirt without washing it first.
This is true. I've already had to pop my denim jacket in the wash, so yeah.
When I was a teenager, I used to go to football matches all the time, and it was always this. It's called in Israel. Called nachs. It's like a jinx. You don't wash your shirt the entire season. Okay, or
goodness.
Yeah, I know it's terrible. Yeah, so let's see what we do with this one. It's
okay.
For
see how long this one lasts. We'll see the whole season. Okay, my darling. Well, all of you in the chat room, It's been wonderful being here and showing you everything tonight. Massive love and respect to you all. We will be back on your screen, same time, same place, on Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. GMT. Watch out for any impromptu live streams, so make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified. The community section is highly active, so if you haven't looked at my community section by now, I suggest you pop over there and scroll down as far as you can, then work your way back up. So yeah, thank you, my darlings, and we will be back again very soon. Until then, bye-bye. Bye.